Well, one of the things that we have noticed is that the Google Plus One integration into the SERPs has meant that very simple plus one scores for websites is resulted in those posts appearing in the actual search engine results almost for no apparent reason. And it does feel a little bit bit over keen, I suppose, on Google's part, the way it's implemented. We understand why it's pushed Google Plus the way it has and why it absolutely needs to become social. But I remember a couple of years ago when the Twitter integrations into search engine results were being done, and I posted a blog which was titled "Stop Press, Man Has Turkey Sandwich," which was largely focused on the fact that I'd done a search on Google for Turkey. And I got Wikipedia, I got the Turkish Ministry of Tourism, and I'd gotten the CIA and lots of other websites. And then right there in the third of the way down the screen was a little Twitter post with some guy, I can't even remember his handle, just saying, "Oh, I just had a great turkey sandwich with a glass of milk and some Doritos." And it felt wrong that it was so easy for this such trivial information to penetrate the user experience of a search for information. But we certainly, I know you've been looking at this, Jan, you've been seeing certainly Google Plus results popping up in search for very
I think that
trivial basis.
in general the introduction of Google Plus sort of summarized the way the web is going. I mean, Google had to do it because the web in the past few years became much more social. 850 million people are on Facebook. Twitter is getting bigger and bigger. Many social networks are growing every day. So it was an inevitable evolution for Google. And the fact that this inevitably is going to affect SEO because of the impact that social have on the web life of any users is something that has to be considered. And regardless if this Google Plus is going to take over as a social network, I think that any brand should be part of it because Google is considering it and it is influenced strongly by the activity that the brands are going to develop on that platform.
Fintan, I know you're from Google, you may or may not have an opinion or even be allowed to comment.
I've got no opinion on SEO.
What about Google Plus?
It's fantastic.
Has anyone here set up
I think from a search engine perspective, I think, results have got to remain relevant to the user, and integrating the social elements, yes, that is important. But you brought up a great example with the turkey sandwich, and it's finding that balance. And if search engines are going to start integrating a social aspect, and it's not going to be relevant to what the searcher is looking for, it is going to impact them long term, and it's something they've got to be very careful with. But it's finding that balance because it is hugely important. Social, it is growing, and more people want to engage with it.
Has anyone set up a Google Plus strategy?
Yes. Yeah. I think in typical Google fashion, every time they roll out a new update or integrate something, they crank that dial right up, and then slowly but surely they turn it down. So I'm hopeful that in time you see less and less stories about turkey sandwiches.
Because that's what happened with the Twitter integration. It was very much bandied around. A lot of press and news media was made of it. I think partly to sort of assuage the concerns of shareholders and maybe market analysts at large that were looking at Twitter very much at the time as could everything move to Twitter, and the idea of real-time search being the product of the moment, and then thrust Google real-time search out into the open and then sort of subtly sort of dialed it back over time. So you suspect the same thing will happen?
I suspect the same thing will happen. It seems to be a pattern that replicates itself quite a lot at Google. Looking at Google Plus purely as a product, as an SEO and as a user, I do like it. It would be nice to see more and more consumers moving to it. From what I gather at the moment, there seems to be a lot of commercial interest in it, i.e. companies going and setting up their pages, but less and less, very few users are migrating from Facebook over to Google+.
I look at something like Google+, and I think it has potential. I think the question is how will Google enable brands to make a more powerful statement on Google+ so that they want to leave Facebook? Because right now, a lot of what yeah, the user engagement. Users will go wherever, to be really honest. If well, yeah, we would all be still using MySpace if that wasn't the case. Facebook came along and had a better architecture to support different things, but if you look at it, they really aren't that much different, or weren't that much different when the transition happened. They were new and cool and exclusive, and I'm not saying that means that every site that starts can be influenced. I mean, look at Pinterest. It's been around for under a year, and its user base is already higher than MySpace again. So, and it's in beta still.
You mentioning this brand about
Pinterest. Yeah. Sorry, MySpace, if you have to watch this. But what I find quite interesting about this whole debate about having social results in the search is that for some categories, you would actually much rather have social results than standard search results. When I'm looking for a hotel, I don't really want to see hotel websites. I want to see reviews of hotels most of the time. And then I want to be able to go and book afterwards. But if I'm saying looking for a hotel in such and such location, I don't want a list of hotels there. I want somewhere that tells me where the best hotels are there. That's social data. So I think what might happen is that the algorithms will change to say, for this type of search, people want this type of data. For this type of search,
Google does
people
have
want
a
this
very
type
good
of data.
track record of doing it.
Exactly,
If you look at how it's
so-
blended universal search in over the years, where there would be times where you would do a search and images would be embedded at the top, and then sometimes shopping results would be embedded at the top, and then sometimes it would be a maps related search. So Google is very good at anticipating what the user intent is behind different categories of searches and swapping out content and remodeling the search.
But they
accordingly.
can't test that until they start putting some things in front of people. And so that's why you see the heavy flow and the pullback, because they've got to test it. It's exactly what's going to happen, well, is happening.